telling anybody who's listening, anyone who's watching, that it's important to feel good about yourself. It's important to feel that you're tall, not small. Think of yourself as a rock star because you, yes you, yes you, yes you are a rock star.
Hi friends, welcome to the very first episode of my podcast Beyond Classrooms, episode 1, Rockstar Mantra. Beyond Classrooms gave me the chance to learn outside of traditional settings by listening to people's story and diving into their hearts and minds, and that's exactly what I try to share with you here. Today's guest is someone I've wanted to talk for a long time, the one and only Professor Bob Cargill. I took his class, Digital Era Skills, 2 years ago, and I was truly amazed by the way he teaches young people to embrace social media and find our voice in the digital world.
Hi everyone, welcome to Beyond Classroom, and today is our episode 1, Rockstar Mantra. And today we have our greatest privilege to invite Professor Bob to join us this episode 1. Woo!
Thank you, Stephanie. You are too kind.
Okay, shall we start?
Absolutely.
Hi Professor Bob, can you start by introducing yourself a bit?
Absolutely, Stephanie. I'm Bob Cargill, and I've been in marketing over 40 years. It's a long time. I started in the industry in 1983 as a copywriter in New York City, and I haven't looked back, meaning I've just gone one step at a time forward, one job at a time, and here I am at Northeastern University as an adjunct professor. Frankly, that I won't say that I'm just getting started, but I feel like I'm in the prime of my career. I really feel good about where I'm at in my career.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, my second question is, how do you define a rock star?
How do I define a rock star? Well, literally, obviously, there are rock stars, and I think we have a picture of what a rock star is. We go and see them on stage, and they make lots of money, and they wear fancy clothes, and they're very talented, and they work very hard. A lot goes on behind the scenes. But rock stars, the stereotypical image we have is someone who lives a good life, someone who feels good about themselves, someone who is unanimously praised and applauded for, and standing ovations for, and they make lots of money, and they live the high life. They live a good, fun, glamorous life. That's the perception. And so it's an expression, and I define it by literally think of a rock star and then think of you as a rock star. You don't have to be literally a rock star to feel like a rock star. So it's a state of mind, okay? And I try to instill that in everyone that I'm around. Be a rock star. You are a rock star.
Yay, you are a rock star.
Yes.
So it comes to my third question. What inspired you to create the You Are a Rockstar mantra, and what are the core principles behind this philosophy?
It's a fantastic question, Stephanie. So, number one, when I was a kid, and this is true, I always wanted to be a rock star. I didn't really pursue that as a career path, but when I was young, I loved, and I still do, loved rock music, loved artists, loved music, loved going to concerts, loved listening to music. We had record players back then, believe it or not. Remember, I said I've been in marketing over 40 years. My very first job was at RCA Direct Marketing, second job at Warner Brothers Publications. And I'm saying, as far back as I go, we had records and tapes, and I listened to all those records and tapes, and I went to concerts, and I looked up to rock stars. So I always thought, I want to be one. So then when I got older, and I wasn't one, and I'm not one, I just started thinking, make people feel good about themselves, because I need to feel good about myself too. Meaning, when I was young, I didn't always feel that I had what it took to succeed. I felt a little down on myself. I felt a little small, figuratively speaking, in the world. So thinking that I was a rock star, something I wanted to do when I grew up was to be a pro athlete, but rock star was number one. So thinking I was a rock star made me feel good about myself. And then at a certain point in my career, pretty much later in my career, only the last 5-10 years, I don't know how it started, I just started calling people rock stars. But I think it came from me not having enough self-esteem when I was young, thinking of the rock star life as a great life, and I wanted to live that life. In my head, thinking I'm a rock star, and then saying, wait a minute, Bob, everyone around you is a rock star. Make them feel good about themselves.
Yeah, I love that answer. So everyone is a rock star, remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, so it comes to my number 4 question. Can you share any stories or moments that lead you to believe in this transformative power of this mantra?
Yes, I mean, I'll segue from the answer I just gave you. Going to all these concerts, I fantasized of being on stage and being a lead singer or a lead guitarist or the drummer, and I again felt like I want to do what they're doing, and I didn't pursue music as a career, but in what I did as I went through my career, I think I adopted the mindset of what I thought a rock star must feel like, and that is to feel good about yourself, to not be shy, to just share publicly, put it out there, not be afraid of criticism, and I will admit, I like to be in the thick of things, just, in front of people. I'm very comfortable. Wasn't when I was young, but I really conditioned myself to feel like a rock star during the course of my career. It took a long time. I'm talking decades, okay? Because when I was young, I did not feel like one. I looked up to them, and I admired them, and revered them, glorified them. And then in my head, over the course of decades, I think I adopted that confidence that they have. And then I started to, now I'm figuring this all out thanks to your questions. I've never really explained this strategically. After I was able to adopt that mindset, I think I started saying, wait a minute, Bob, share that mindset with everyone around you. And social media probably was a big trigger, if you will, because it enabled me to share my positive mantras, my motivational, my inspirational speeches, and I realized saying certain words over and over again, like a lot of actually, rock stars do in their songs. There's a repetition of certain words, choruses, the names of the songs. So absolutely, when I do public speaking, there are certain things I say over and over again to make my points clear. You make your audience feel good, they're gonna pretty much be in your favor. So it's a win-win. You want to make those in front of you, those listening to you, those who you are talking to, feel good about themselves.
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm feeling good about myself, as anyone can tell. Okay, so question number 5. As someone who has been taught by you and influenced by your Rockstar Mantra, I have heard you use it and in almost every class. So I'm curious about how your students respond to it over time, and to know if you have noticed any changes or difference after they taking your class.
I have, Stephanie. So number one, look at me and you. You're a former student. Here we are. I remember in the classroom saying, you are a rock star. And I remember you once asking me about that. Why do I say that? I know at first students, some are unanimously, oh wow, yeah, I feel like a rock star. But I can tell by students' expressions, some might not react all that positively or react at all. And and I say to them, I acknowledge, oh, this might sound cheesy, and especially I'm saying it over and over. Maybe it's annoying to you, but I tell them why I'm telling them that they are rock stars. I tell them what I tried to tell you in an answer or two ago to one of your questions, that this is to make you feel good about yourself, because when I was your age, I had low self-esteem. I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself. I felt small, not tall. I didn't feel, like a rock star on stage, and I want you to feel like a rock star on stage in everything that you do. Some students, yes, I can tell maybe I sound like a broken record tying it back to a rock star. It sounds like a broken record. I say it over and over again. But I would say the majority, it hits home, and I can tell it hits home. And I'll give you an example. The other day, in some presentations, students at another school where I teach did their midterm presentations. 2 or 3 of the 5 groups said in their presentations, you are a rock star, or had something about being a rock star in their presentation. So I knew my point had gotten across and it made me feel good. And I hope me telling them they were rock stars helped them feel like rock stars when they gave that presentation. And I tell them I want you to feel like that every step of the way, beyond just the classroom, in your personal and in your professional journeys. Feel like a rock star.
Did anyone feel like a rock star right now? So, question number 6. As we have discussed in class, so many people around me choose to keep their social media accounts private, which is a question a lot of people have. How do you think the Rockstar Mantra can help students to overcome self-doubt and online anxious?
That is a fantastic question, and I know exactly what you're saying. In a lot of my classes, I teach social media, some of them strictly social media. Certainly personal branding comes up whenever we're talking about social media. And I ask students, I encourage students to put themselves out there on social media. Like a rock star steps on stage, like a rock star releases a new record, a new song, and be brave. I have gotten occasionally mild pushback, but I tell my students, you're in a class on social media, how can I not encourage you to have a strong personal brand using social media, at least for the length of the time that you're in my class. And I say, do not be afraid. I was afraid when I was young to put myself out there before we had social media. I'm talking about in real life. It's similar, it's comparable. You guys have, the younger generation, digital natives, that's you. You grew up with, the phone in your hand and laptops in front of you and digital devices. That is so great an opportunity to, as a platform, as a vehicle, as a channel to put yourselves out there on. I didn't have that. I probably would have been afraid too. I probably would have been hesitant too. You have to have the confidence. It ties together what I teach, what I do, social media, and telling people they are a rock star. I have to feel like one in order to be successful at what I do. So I tell students, don't be afraid of criticism. Don't be afraid of the haters. They're out there, in person, online. Just be you. Be the best version of yourself. And know it, some days you can't be that best version of yourself, but just be you. And document your day-to-day, and people will see you, they'll get to know you, they'll like you, they'll respect you, and if you're doing social media for business reasons, they'll do business with you.
Yeah, that's true. Before your class, I hesitated to do social media contents. As you know, I ask you the question, why are you so passionate about social media? Because young people are not that passionate at social media as you did. But after your class, I changed your life. So.
Stephanie, if I can add, when social media came around, so I talk about, I've been around in marketing forever, and I talk about, direct mail and print advertising and pre-internet, first 20 years of my career. But when social media came around, when the digital phone, mobile phone came around, the internet, I lit up. I mean, it was like it was made for me. And I am genuinely, sincerely, authentically passionate about social media because it's a great way of communicating with as many people as you really want to communicate with. It's a way of connecting with people that you otherwise would not be able to connect with.
Yeah, that's true. I think social media for me right now is more connecting to people which I cannot reach to geographically. I cannot reach them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And in the masses, you can be like TV stars, radio stars, music stars, movie stars. This is where, again, the rock star analogy comes in. We can be just like them. We don't have to be famous. We don't have to be making tons of money. We don't have to be celebrities to be seen and heard using social media.
Okay, it goes my last 2 questions. Number 7, what advice do you give to students who are hesitated to share their digital content on social media?
Work on, I do sound like a broken record, but work on your confidence, your self-esteem, which again, I did not have much of when I was young, early in my journey.
I cannot tell.
I have journals. I have 10 to 15 notebooks. I was a writer. I've always been a writer. Been in marketing, copywriter, creative director of social media, but it's always included writing, content. I said writing, that was handwriting before we typed, and we did have typewriters too, and then electric typewriters. But what was the question? How can I motivate?
if they are hesitated to share their digital content on social media,
Got me
like
back on
what's your
track.
advice?
You got to work on yourself first. Meaning, I think it's like if you go to a doctor and you complain about something, they say, well, maybe it's over here. Your right side of your body is affecting what hurts on the left side of your body. You have to work on your confidence, your self-esteem, and your creative skills, and belief in yourself, and faith in other people first, before you can actually put yourself out there. Once you realize you got it, no matter what, and that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be Lady Gaga as a singer, or Babe Ruth as a baseball player, or Tom Brady as a football player. I don't know. You don't have to be the best, the greatest, the most well-known, the wealthiest, the tallest, the smartest, the best looking. You just be you. And you have to realize that from within. It took me years, I swear. If you were to read my journals from high school, college, I was really depressed, low self-esteem, and I've struggled with some of that my whole life to this day. You don't see it when I'm talking like this. But if we were to sit down and talk for 2 or 3 hours, I could share stories with you, not for public consumption necessarily, at least not today, of me being down about myself, not feeling I'm good enough, not feeling I'm a success. So I have to tell myself daily, one way or another, that you are a rock star, Bob. You got what it takes. And that's what I tell my students. And once they have that in them, not only are they capable of doing social media and having a strong personal brand on social media, they're capable of doing anything they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Sky is the limit, no limitations.
So if you guys want to know more about Professor Bob's story, go ahead and read his book.
My book, 20 Jobs, 20 Lessons.
Yeah.
Long, strange career in marketing from junk mail to social media. You know, it's been a long, strange journey, a long, strange career, but I've loved every step of it, especially the steps I've taken in the last 3, 4, 5 years as a professor.
So, one last question. After recording this short interview, do you have any thoughts or comments on this episode? Because it's called Beyond Classroom. I feel like why I'm starting this journey, because I feel like a lot of students they want to talk to you, but they don't have a chance, or they don't have that confidence when they try to talk to you. Like especially for some international students, because they are really interested about you, but they are not there to like go ahead and say like, okay, can we have a conversation, or can we have a coffee chat, Professor Bob? So like, what's your thoughts after taking this episode? Because that's the beginning of me creating this journey. Because I feel like if I start to share, people will start to get to know more about you, not just you, also about other professor, also about campus life. How you guys think about those like things? Like you guys not just talking about like something simply a mantra, you're a rock star, but also you have your life principle, your life philosophy inside of this idea. So what are your thoughts?
I think it's a great idea, Stephanie, and I applaud you for this beyond the classroom, beyond classrooms idea, and I'm honored to be your first guest. I would say, I'll speak for myself, but I think what I have to say would apply, I'm guessing, to pretty much every other professor, and that is we want to help. I want to help. I want to get to know my students. You've heard me say at least something like this. We're no different. You're a student, you just graduated, congratulations. You'll be graduating commencement this spring, yes, and your fellow classmate who's behind the camera over there, thank you so much. Yay. But what I want to say is we're all the same. We're just going through our unique, individual, respective journeys. But so what if I'm older? So what if I'm a professor? So what if I about to run my 20th marathon? What I mean is I'm no different than someone like yourself who's doing amazing things with video and is amazing in the classroom and amazing as a human being and going big places. Wherever you want to go, you're going to go far, okay? And we're no different. I should say we are different. We're all unique, but our journeys...
We are human beings.
We are
really
human
don't
beings.
have difference. Yes.
Our journeys matter equally. What we do each day matters equally. There's no differences in terms of what's more important, who's better. Our days what we go through day to day, wake up, go to sleep, whatever you do in between, it all counts equally. The President of the United States, you as a student, me as a professor, famous athletes, rock stars. Let's not draw boundaries. Let's not have anything between each of us coming together and making each other feel good. The world would be a better place if we all...
Yeah.
So I would say, please come and talk to me. I will make myself available. There's no greater pleasure at this time in my career, this time in my life, than to know I can help somebody else. Because I really needed a lot of help when I was younger. In some cases I got it, but in many cases I didn't. So I had to learn the hard way, and I want to help students and younger people not have to go through a lot of what I went through. And what I want to say is, that's a big thread in my book, change. And changing sometimes because you want to, changing sometimes because you have to. Growing up, especially when I was younger, was not necessarily made to feel good, feel good about any changes I made in my life. I thought they were not favored by others, those around me, that I was different because I made so many changes in my life. New jobs especially, new relationships, new places to live. I think now, looking back, that it's so good that I made all those changes in direction, changes in course, sped up, slowed down, went left, went right. And I want other people, especially younger people, to realize that's a good thing, I think. Looking back, it was a good thing for me. But around me, it was different. Because most people want this straight, narrow path to the top. I took a zigzaggedy path, and I still do. Because I like so many different things, and I want to be in so many places with so many different people at the same time. It's okay to be different. It's okay to go in different directions. It's okay to have change in your life. And change often leads to something better. Certainly something different and makes life more exciting. So you mentioned something that I want to add, and you said afraid and afraid of change. And a lot of people are afraid of change. For some reason, I am the opposite. I gravitate towards change. Almost, some people might think, to a fault. And sometimes, yeah, it's led to me bumping my head, figuratively speaking, although we both know I bumped my head recently.
Yeah.
Got hurt, but I'm better now. Thankfully, the scar is gone for today's recording, pretty much gone. But seriously, I learned by bumping my head. I have most of my life through all these changes, but because of all these changes and bumping my head here, there, and everywhere, and I mean figuratively, although there were a few times over the course of my life it was physical. Took a few punches back in the day when I was a kid, a few bumps and bruises. But seriously, learning by going through tough times, learning by embracing change, learning by challenges and difficulty and adversity, it's a good thing. You become a fuller, more developed person. You get more out of life. That's my feeling. So I am gravitating towards change and probably can't stop that. Those who are afraid of change, I could pull back a little bit, but those who are afraid of change, don't hesitate. Go for it. Change is good. Look at how much this country, this world is changing. If you're used to change, you're going to thrive on what happens in the future, because that doesn't stand still. Time doesn't stand still. As the Rolling Stones sang once, time waits for no one, something like that.
Yeah.
That was a big Rolling Stones hit. Time. Oh, that was Time Isn't on my side or something. I don't know, but there's an expression, time does not wait. And so we have to be nimble. We have to be quick. We have to be strong. We have to be brave.
Thank you to each and every one of you for listening, learning, and growing with me. I truly hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. It's filling with great insights, and I'd love to hear what resonate with you. What did you learn? What stood out to you? What do you want to explore more? Like, comment, and share this episode. I'd love to hear your stories too. And one last thing, to everyone who's watching this, never forget that you are a rock star.
How can I not end by telling anybody who's listening, anyone who's watching, that it's important to feel good about yourself. It's important to feel that you're tall, not small. I speak figuratively. Think of yourself as somebody people admire, somebody people like, somebody people respect, somebody people will gather around and support and lift you up to greater heights. Think of yourself as a rock star because you, yes you, yes you, yes you are a rock star.
Hey!
Yes.
Yeah!